Hey there, Anna DiGilio here. Thank you so much for registering for my brand new webinar called The 7 Hidden Secrets to Unleashing the Math Genius in Your Students. I am so excited to start sharing this brand new webinar with you today, and thank you so much for registering for it. I truly appreciate your support and always coming to my different webinars. So let's get started, shall we? We are going to cover the 7 hidden secrets to unleashing the math genius in your students. And I'm so excited to share this brand new training with you. And I just want to get this fully on the screen to make sure that you can see it, because my screen looks a little different than your screen. So I just want to make sure you can see everything. Let me zoom this out a little bit. Okay, so I think you should be able to see everything. All right, so let's jump in and get started. Thank you everyone for sharing. And I just want to quickly tell you a little bit about myself. I was an elementary classroom teacher for 23 years, and I just retired from the classroom just recently because I'm now going to be focused on providing professional development to teachers in school districts. And I'm going to continue to create rigorous and Common Core aligned curriculum resources for school districts and teachers through my blog shop, which is on Simply Skilled in Second, and of course through my TPT shop. And you know that teaching guided math and guided reading are my absolute passions because I am all about small group instruction. And of course, I have 17-year-old twin boys. They actually just turned 17. Their names are John and Anthony. And my hubby is a firefighter in New York. His name is John. So just wanted to give you a little bit about me. And I'm so excited that you took time for yourself tonight. So I hope you got yourself a hot cup of tea or coffee, or even better yet, where I am, it's 8 o'clock p.m. Get yourself a glass of wine. Sit back, relax, and we're going to dive into the 7 hidden secrets. You know what? And shut off your phone, shut your door, and let's just focus on this tonight. So here we go. You're in the right place if you feel like your math instruction needs something a little different. I'm just also going to take this off the screen so it doesn't bother you. Okay. Also, let me just get this back on. Also, you know in your heart you're not meeting the needs of all of your students, but you don't know how to change that. I felt that same struggle in my classroom. You're frustrated because no matter how hard you work, you feel like you are just never getting ahead. And trust me, I have felt the same thing in my own classroom. And you definitely want to enjoy teaching math to your students. And you want to unleash your students' math genius. And that's why you showed up tonight. So I'm so excited. And stay tuned. If you stick around until the end, you will not be disappointed. So I have lots to share with you. So I hope you'll stick around to the end. So we are going to break it down tonight. It's pretty simple once you know what to do. So we are going to jump in to the 7 hidden secrets to unleashing the math genius in your students. So here we go. I'm going to quickly go over these 7 hidden secrets, and then we're going to dive deep into them. So secret number 1 is about creating a community of learners in a numeracy rich classroom. Like I said, we're going to go deep into each one of these, but I just want to go over the 7 secrets right now. Secret number 2, number talks, warm-ups, wrap-ups, and calendar time, or a math focus wall. We're going to go deep into secret number 2. Secret number 3 is whole group instruction. Secret number 4 is small group instruction. Secret number 5 is math rotations or math workshop. Secret number 6 is conferring with your students. And secret number 7 is assessing your students. And these are basically the 7 hidden secrets. And when they're implemented correctly, you and your students will be unstoppable, truly unstoppable. And I know that because I've done it in my own classroom. And you'll begin to uncover and unleash your students' math genius. And you'll see it every single solitary day. And by taking all of these pieces of the puzzle and organizing them in just the right way, your students will experience math success. And I can ensure that will happen because I did it in my own classroom. So the question I know we all have tonight is, how do we accomplish all of this? So I want to jump in deep to these 7 secrets. So let's jump into secret number 1 and talk about what you have to do to create a community of learners in a numeracy-rich classroom and what that means. So let's dig into secret number 1. The first part is creating your community of learners. And what that means is explicitly teaching how to be respectful listeners and responders to allow your students to be real, strategic risk takers. We want our students to take risks in our classroom, and we want them to share their ideas and their strategies and what they're doing to solve problems. But 90% of the time, your students are afraid and embarrassed to make mistakes. And when you create a community of learners, which I'm going to talk to you about how we'll do that, you will allow your students to take risks, and they'll want to take the risks. Because allowing them to be risk takers and giving them the tools to be risk takers allows for true mathematical discourse between your students and yourself. And it really, truly encourages them to share their ideas and their strategies and their struggles and their successes during your lessons. And that's what it is. That's what I mean about creating a community of learners. And the way that we do that is by posting like sentence stems and talking to students about what a classroom community of learners is and how we respectfully talk to each other when we're talking about math and when we're taking risks and raising our hands in the classroom to share our thoughts and our ideas and our strategies. And these sentence stems help us to create that community of learners and risk takers that are willing to kind of step out of their comfort zone and share their ideas. And they're not afraid to make mistakes or embarrassed to make mistakes. That's one of the biggest things students feel. They don't want to feel that embarrassment of giving a wrong answer. So the first thing you need to do in the beginning of the year is really work on community and creating a community of learners that are willing to be risk takers because they know they're not going to be laughed at by other kids in the classroom. And we're going to learn how to respectfully speak to each other. And if you already downloaded your workbook, you'll know that these sentence stems are already there for you. Print them out, blow them up, put them up on a bulletin board, and it could be part of your number talks, which we're going to go deep into. So this is part of secret number 1 in creating a community of learners. Now, secret number 2 is about creating this community inside an environment that's a numeracy-rich classroom. And what I mean by that is truly surrounding your classroom with mathematical vocabulary and posters and anchor charts. This is so important to creating a numeracy-rich classroom. You know, we always talk about a literacy-rich classroom, but we really also need a numeracy-rich classroom. And if you stay till the end, I'm going to let you know how to get my entire math word wall that has over 180 math vocabulary words in it. Another part of this is by posting, like I said, anchor charts and posters around the classroom related to the current skill that you're teaching, or those anchor charts that you make at the beginning of a unit or during a unit, so students can constantly refer to them to ensure that they're on the right track and they're thinking and they're using their math strategies. Having a numeracy-rich classroom creates that opportunity for students to say, okay, I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to let people know what my strategy was. So this is part of it. And again, this was one of these little posters were one of the freebies that you got in your webinar workbook. So if you didn't download that, make sure you download that before you leave today. Now, again, part of a numeracy-rich classroom is by labeling. Label all the things. You want to label everything you have that's math-related in your classroom so students know where to get the materials they need, what materials are available to them to use to maybe help them solve different problems they're having with a certain skill or concept. So you have to label everything in your classroom to create a numeracy-rich classroom. So this is all part of secret number 1. Now, secret number 2 is about number talks, warm-ups, wrap-ups, and calendar time. by implementing these things in your classroom, you will create a class and community of risk takers and learners. Let's go deep into this secret. Here we go. Secret number 2. You want to implement a calendar time during your morning meeting. Now, this calendar time works really well for students in K through 2. For our students in grades 3 through 5, using a math focus wall would be great, would be just a little bit of a higher level using a math focus wall, and I'll show that to you as well. I got this amazing picture from a KTP on TPT, that's her store, and she shared her calendar board with me so I could share it with you. So I'm so appreciative to her for sharing this with me. And she did such a phenomenal job by showing me and creating this calendar board that she uses with her students, where she focuses on days of the week and time and money and creating tally marks and working on place value and expanded form. So it's just a great way to add those morning warm-ups into your classroom during a morning meeting. Now, this is what I was talking about kind of raising it up a little bit for your higher level learners, creating just a math focus wall where you could do number chats and number of the day on your focus wall, where you could focus on decomposing numbers, place value. You could focus on part, whole, using number lines and counting ahead and counting back, looking at numbers and what comes before and after, and all of those important numeracy skills that students need to master. We need to have them have a strong sense of numeracy, and these number chats during morning meeting really help. Now, if you don't have a morning meeting time, that's okay. You could do a math number chat any time of the day. If you have a 10-minute pocket of time, between, lunch and recess, or between lunch and your specials time, this is a perfect opportunity to dive deep into a quick number talk. This is such an important part of a math workshop or guided math routines that you could do in your classroom. And even if you do teach math whole group, you can still incorporate this type of math chats in your classroom, and they are super, super powerful. And if you stick around to the end, I will absolutely tell you how to get your hands on my entire math focus wall. Now, also implementing warm-ups and wrap-ups. Now, math warm-ups, again, is part of doing like a problem of the day or a math stretch during morning meeting, or as a 5 to 7 minute time filler. These are some of my stretches. I actually jazzed them up a little bit from what I used to use, but now I use these trifolds for my morning stretches. I call them math stretches, where they can stretch their mind and stretch the strategies that they're using to use different strategies throughout the week. And they were doing those once Monday through Friday. So these are my stretches that I use. Now, math wrap-ups. Math wrap-ups are done after your math instruction, and that allows you to focus on different skills and strategies, and this is where you can clear up any misconceptions that your students are having, or they can share a success they had that day. What worked really well? What strategy did they use that worked really well when they were working on math that day? Having math wrap-ups after a guided math block or even a whole group lesson is a great way to have some closure to your lesson and clear up any misconceptions, and of course celebrate those students that are understanding something and they want to share a success that they had. It's a perfect time to really celebrate those small wins that your students have. This is secret number 2. Now, I want to continue on with secret number 2, talking about number talks. And we're going to go deep into this right now. And I'm going to give you the step-by-step of how to do a number talk. Many teachers get a little nervous, I would say, or overwhelmed with this concept. And they're like, well, I don't know how to do it. I don't know what to do. Honestly, it is so easy. And I'm going to share that with you today. And on your webinar workbook, there is a workbook page in there that will allow you to write down the steps I'm about to teach you on how to implement number talks in your classroom. I'm just going to take a quick sip of my soda because I'm thirsty. Okay, so when you're doing number talks, you're helping your students focus on utilizing their mental math strategies. That's what you're focusing on during a number talk. So if you stay till the end, I'm going to talk to you about how you can get my step-by-step number talks. So let's go in deep, and I'm going to go over these 7 steps with you on how to conduct a number talk in your classroom. I know I talk super quick, but I'll try to slow down a bit. All right. Terrific. Here we go. Let's jump in. So this is step 1 for a number talk. Now, this would be different for a kindergarten would definitely be different, but this would work extremely well for grades 1 through 5. Honestly, even middle school, this would work for. So now grade 1, you of course probably wouldn't use this exact number sentence or equation. You'd use an easier equation with single digit addends, but this is perfect for 2nd grade and up. So step one is to write a carefully constructed equation on a whiteboard or your smart board, wherever it is that you're doing your number talk. I liked to do my number talks on my carpet, and I just used a piece of chart paper. That's where I felt most comfortable doing my number talks, and I felt the students really were engaged more. When they sat at their desks and I was doing them on the smart board, I just felt they weren't as engaged as they were on the carpet. So here is a carefully constructed equation. Now, I picked this equation because I want them to show me a few different types of strategies. Now, number 1, as you can see, this is a problem that requires regrouping. And I don't want my students to rely on vertical algorithms. So this is a perfect type of equation to see the different types of strategies they'll use to solve it. So the first thing you're going to do is write an equation on the board. That's step 1. Step 2, you want to allow for a proper amount of wait time so that most students have their thumbs up to their chest. So this is what I do. I say to the students, okay, boys and girls, let me go back to this first slide. I say, okay, boys and girls, I would like you to think about this math equation, and I want you to solve it in your head. And when you think you have the answer, I want you to put a thumbs up in front of your chest. This is how I start it. So they're thinking about the math equation and they're trying to solve it in their head using mental math, okay? And then I give them a proper amount of wait time, and I say, don't forget to put your thumbs up to your chest when you have an answer in your head. Now, let me tell you why I do thumbs up. Thumbs up to their chest is because as soon as students start to raise their hands, that gives the other students in the classroom the symbol or saying, okay, they're going to answer it. I don't have to think anymore. They're going to take care of it. I'm done thinking. It just kind of signals some of your struggling students to say, you know what, they'll take care of it. I don't have to think anymore. So by putting their thumbs up to their chest, it's a pretty private, quiet action that they're doing that tells you they're ready and they have an answer, but it doesn't signal the rest of the class saying, I've got the answer. And it also reduces the amount of anxiety students feel about trying to figure out the answer in their head. So this is a really important strategy to use when you're doing a number talk so it doesn't cause anxiety with the other students. You have to give the proper amount of wait time. Don't even make eye contact with your students. Do something else. Give them a proper amount of wait time. So that's step number 2. Now, step number 3, you want to call on at least 4 or 5 students to share their mental math answers, and you want to write them on the whiteboard. So as you can see here, this is, of course, I just did the sample to give you an idea, but I took 4 students' responses. As you could see, I have basically 3 different responses from students, and I put their name next to their response. So this is what I do with the students. And then after I get 4 or 5 students' responses, and it's okay if some of them are wrong, that's okay. Once you get 4 or 5 responses, then what you're going to do is you're going to ask each student to share their strategy. So now I want to show you what step 4 looks like. So step 3 is call on at least 4 to 5 students to share their answers, write their answer on the whiteboard, and put their name next to it. All right, step 4, we want to allow the students to share their mathematical processes that they use to solve the problem. Now, what you're going to be doing as a teacher is you're facilitating this. What you're doing is you might want to help them or clarify their thinking, especially if they're stuck explaining. But I want to show you a couple of different strategies that you're looking for. Now, all of these strategies that are up here are strategies that I taught my students during our addition and subtraction unit. every single one of these strategies are taught. So now what I'm doing during a mental math number talk is seeing if they can pull those mental math strategies and use them. Okay, so let's look at this first strategy right here. This student is using the making friendly numbers or rounded numbers. That's the strategy that they're using. So now you have to kind of decipher what the students are saying when they're saying it. So this particular student said, well, you know what? If I add 1 to 39, that gives me 40. 40 is an easy number. We talk about easy, friendly numbers in my classroom all the time. We want to get to those good, easy, friendly numbers, right? So now they'll say, okay, if I make 39 40, right, and I make 38 40, those are super easy numbers that I can add, and I can try and figure it out. So they made both of these numbers 40, and then they get 80, but they have to take away the numbers that they added to it. So they subtract 3 from 80 and they get 77. This is absolutely a strategy that I teach my students during our addition and subtraction unit. 100%. Okay? So you're writing it. The teacher is writing it while the student is explaining it. And again, sometimes you have to facilitate it with kind of guiding questions or clarifying questions. So you're basically writing down what they're telling you. Here's a strategy. This particular student did the compensation strategy. Again, a strategy I taught. This student said, listen, I can make 39 40. So let me take away 1 from 38 and give it to 39. So now I have 40 and I have 37. And 40 is one of those easy numbers. It's a number in the tens. It's easy for me to add on. Oops, sorry, I just went back so many. Sorry about that. It's easy for me to add on. So I'm going to start at 37 and I'm going to count up by tens 4 times because 40 is 4 tens. So they have this like little number line going on. 37 to 47 to 57 to 67 to 77. So they added on by tens. Again, this is a strategy I taught my students. This is something we did during our addition and subtraction unit. Now up here, this is a decomposition strategy. Now, I would say 95% of my students utilized this strategy even after I taught them how to do the vertical algorithm. This strategy is so powerful. So this student said, well, I can break apart my numbers because we break apart numbers all day long. So we can break apart my numbers and we could break apart 38 into our place value of 30 and 8, and we could break up 39 into 30 and 9. I can add my tens up, 30 and 30, which gives me 60, and I can add my 8 and my 9. Now again, if students have trouble doing 60 and 17, they can decompose again. And again, this might be a place where you are clarifying this and you're asking questions. Well, what should I write here? You know, you're asking questions of the students so they can guide what you're writing. Now, don't get me wrong, this takes a little practice, but you'll get it. And the strategies are amazing that they share. You would be amazed at what they come out with. Amazing. Now, again, no, this is all done mentally. Raylene said, do the students do this mentally? Absolutely. This is all about using mental math strategies. No paper and pencil. This is all mentally done. Now, for the students that give you the wrong answer, that's okay. And remember, creating that community of learners with respectful talk and respectful sentence stems will help them not feel embarrassed, because you'll be surprised when they start telling you their process and you start writing it down. They're going to be like, oh, wait a minute. Okay. No. This has to happen. This has to happen. And they start to clarify their own thinking and they start to correct their own errors. Not only that, but this gives you the opportunity to clarify for them. It helps you clear up misconceptions. It helps you guide them into what they should be thinking and where they should be going with the project, with the problem. So that's what this is. Now, a number talk is not long. We're talking 10, 15 minutes max. 15 minutes max. And some of you are saying you can have the students use whiteboards. Absolutely. But I found in my classroom when I gave them whiteboards, I wasn't getting the proper engagement and attention that I wanted, because they were who was drawing on the whiteboard, who wasn't listening, who was doing a vertical algorithm. So I found by giving them whiteboards, it wasn't as powerful for my class. But you have to work with your students with where they are and what they need. And you could try different things. Trial and error is so powerful in a classroom. Figure out what's working with your students. Figure out what they need help with. So this is what a math number talk looks like when you're showing the students processes on the whiteboard. You're following their thoughts and you're writing them down on the whiteboard. And again, you're clarifying as you go. Step 4. Now here, step 5 is really part of step 4, where the teacher's facilitating by asking questions and help to clarify the student's process. You're doing this as the student is speaking. As the student is explaining, you could ask those clarifying questions. And again, this allows students to use that respectful talk, to agree or disagree with a solution that's given. And by using these sentence stems that can be posted right on a bulletin board, right where you do your number talks, it gives them the tools that they need to answer the questions and to have that mathematical discourse with their peers. That's what's important. There's so many powerful conversations that go on when you have that discourse between students. It is extremely powerful to help students and teach students how to talk to each other and agree with each other and disagree with each other. It is seriously a powerful strategy. So that's step 6. And again, you can refer to those sentence stems. Use your sentence stems, John. Use your sentence stems, Lisa. That's what you want to do to create that discourse. And of course, step 7 is about helping your students to feel proud of their risk-taking and sharing by doing some type of a physical act, whether it be clapping or sometimes I like to snap, or we tap our head. So it's just a way of showing the excitement of what we just did and the fact that we took risks. And again, I talk about mistakes all the time when we're doing math number talks, when we're doing anything. And we talk about how mistakes are the most powerful things we can ever do because it helps us to grow and learn. So it's super important. So these are the steps for number talks. It's super easy. It is not a 9-hour event. It is a 10-minute, quick, deep sharing of strategies. That's what it is. If you've got 7 minutes to fill before when you're coming back from recess and you have to go to specials, fill it with a number talk. Trust me, you will see the most amazing discussions go on when you give students the opportunity to have that mathematical discourse with each other. It is the most powerful strategy you can use in your classroom. Again, this type of number talk would be great for anywhere between 2nd through 5th grade. And of course, I do numbers in the hundreds with my students. So I do triple-digit add-ins number talks with my class as well. Super easy, okay? Secret number 3, we're going to just zoom past these next secrets, okay? Secret number 3 is whole group instruction. Now, you want to implement whole group instruction the way I do it. We are going to do this during when I implement or when I'm introducing a new unit of study. That's how I use whole group instruction. Whole group instruction I don't love, and because I feel like it doesn't allow me to teach students what they need and how they need it when I teach whole group. So I use it very sparingly. I use it to introduce a new unit of study where I am reading a mentor text and where we're creating our anchor chart that we're going to use throughout the unit. And sometimes I'll do short little mini lessons to maybe clarify a difficult skill. I'll do a quick mini lesson on a concept or skill that maybe they're not getting. I also use whole group instruction for my wrap-ups, my warm-ups, my math focus wall, and of course number talks. Those are the other components of whole group instruction. It's another component. So I don't like to teach typical lessons whole group because it doesn't work. I've been teaching my students how to read in homogeneous groups forever, yet I taught my students math in whole group for the longest time. And I realized I was failing them, and it was unfair. I was basically teaching to the middle and hoping for the best. That's kind of what was happening. And when I realized I couldn't do that anymore and it was time to change, I went deep and I tried to figure out the best way and the best strategies to help them. And the way I did that is by cutting out whole group instruction, except for number talks, warm-ups, wrap-ups, either problem of the day or calendar talk, and introducing a new unit of study. That's the only time. And of course, assessing, because we do that whole group as well. Secret number 4, small group instruction. My favorite. This is my jam right here, my friends. Small group instruction is my jam. Small group instruction is about conducting rigorous, again, that's an important word, rigorous, direct instruction via small groups in 15 to 20 minute spurts. So when you're doing small group instruction, you are doing rigorous direct instruction. It's the guided practice of the skill and then the independent practice of it. Now, my direct explicit instruction during small group takes about 5 to 7 minutes. After I do like a direct explicit instruction, then we do the guided practice where my students are working together. They're working with me. In this particular picture, I was working with my students on ordering fractions from least to greatest and greatest to least. So this was a very powerful lesson using fraction towers. Now, this was a 15-minute lesson. When I work with my struggling students, I do a 20-minute lesson. So this was a 15-minute lesson. It's 5 to 7 minutes of rigorous, explicit instruction on how to order fractions and why we order fractions. And then the rest of the time was about a guided practice of the skill. That's what we do. Now, I would go off on a tangent if I start talking about administrators that say you have to teach whole group, because then they clearly have absolutely no idea that shouldn't be happening, because not every one of those students is on the same level and same instructional level in math. So how can you possibly teach every single one of your students in the class with the same lesson? It's just not possible. And honestly, what we're doing, and don't get me wrong, I did it for years. And I finally realized I was failing my students and I needed to change it. And that's what I did. And let me tell you, I would never look back. So that's what small group instruction is about. Let's move into secret number 5. Secret number 5 is about math rotations or math workshop, whatever you decide to call it in your classroom. I create rotations based on the number of students I have in my class. Now, this particular year that I took this picture, I had 18 students. It was the smallest class I ever had. So I had 6 students in each group. My typical class size was 22 to 24. So when that was the case, I would have 4 groups. So this is how you have to organize your groups. You have to organize your groups with the number of students you have in your class. Now, again, when you're implementing math rotations or math workshop, you have to explicitly teach your students how to rotate to the different stations during your math block. And you have to create expectations. And when I tell you I spend the first 3 to 4 weeks of school, I mean, when I tell you practicing, I literally teach them and model how to line up at the drawer card, how to open the drawer card, how to take out their document holder, how to open it, how to snap it closed, how to put it back in the drawer card, how to not push and shove when they're online at the drawer card. I teach absolutely everything. We explicitly teach what we want, and they must see it in action, and it must be modeled for them. Students learn differently. They need it visually, they need it oratorily, and they need it to feel it. They need to experience it. They need to touch it. So they actually do it by modeling. I model, they do it. I model, they do it. That's how they learn these expectations, and then they follow through. My guided math block is absolutely positively chaos-free. Chaos-free. There is no chaos during my math block. Now, am I going to tell you that it was like that at the beginning? Nope. Hot mess express right here, because it took me time to get my groove and get my students to get my groove. But once we got it, boy, oh boy, oh boy, it was powerful. And the results on the assessments were clear. So it's important. Next part of implementing math rotations and math workshop is to ensure that you infuse fact fluency and problem solving into your rotations. These are important skills your students must learn. They have to be able to quickly and effectively and easily be able to know their facts. When you're teaching in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade and you're working on multiplication and division, you cannot have them sit there going 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No, 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 no. We need to solidify those facts in kindergarten through 3rd grade. It's so important. We need to solidify those facts. And the way we do that is by expecting them to practice fact fluency every day. Doesn't necessarily have to be time tests. Absolutely not. In this picture, my students using hot dots. My students use my math fact fluency, my math muscles fact fluency. They use just typical fact fluency sheets in clear sleeves with a dry erase marker. We use these beat the clocks from Lakeshore. They have to practice facts every day. They have to, because without knowing your facts, it's very difficult to work on mental math strategies. Very difficult. They have to have this skill. Problem solving is also another skill they must focus on. They need to be able to take those strategies that they're learning and apply them to problems, to word problems, to be able to solve them and use different types of strategies to solve the problems that you give them each day. So these are all parts of your math rotation and your math workshop. You have to do these different things in order to solidify the skills that they need in order to be successful math students. So let me go on to the next part. This is one of the last parts of math rotations and math workshop is when the students leave your small group instruction table and now they're practicing their independent work. This is just a sample of what my students were doing when I was teaching them arrays. So they were working on arrays and they were practicing arrays in their interactive notebooks. So as soon as they leave small group instruction, they go to their independent workstation. I call it Workbook Nook. I have all my fun little names. I call it Workbook Nooks, and then they work on their independent practice activity based on the lesson I just taught them. Sorry, I'm going to take one more sip of my soda. I'm so sorry. Okay, here we go. So that's secret number 5 is about implementing your math rotations or math workshop and including all of these strategies in it. This is secret number 5. Secret number 6 is conferring with students. Now, it's really important that you try to incorporate conferences in your math block at least once a month or maybe during stations. Now, let me explain this to you. I live in the real world, my friends, and I was in my classroom for 23 years, and I know that conferences are definitely what gets pushed to the wayside because we are too busy. Oh, can I get an amen on that? I know how busy your day is. I know it's hard to incorporate everything, and I know it's not easy. So I'm living in the real world right there with you. So trust me. But what I tried to do, and I tried my best, was to implement conferences like once or twice a month. What I would do is I would take myself out of rotations where they didn't come to teacher feature and I didn't teach them a lesson and they went to another station instead. And then that gave me the opportunity to pull up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kids. And again, a conference is quick. We're not talking 20 minutes. I'm talking 3, 4, 5 minutes max with each of your students. And you want to go over something specific. You have to have a reason for your conference, a goal for your conference. And there are different types of conferences and there are different types of questions that you can use and discussion starters to help you navigate your conference. And again, if you stay to the end, I'm going to teach you about how you can find out about what type of conferences to do, the types of questions that you're going to ask your students, and how to guide those conferences. So again, I understand that we just don't have time for everything. Trust me, I'm with you. I'm with you. My people, amen. I hear you. I struggled with it myself. But again, if you say, okay, the 3rd week of every month on a Wednesday, that's my day for math conferences. That's it. If you write it in your plan book, you'll get it done. And if you have 25 to 35 students in your classroom, which I know teachers have, and it's just appalling to me, but that's beside the point. That's a whole other webinar. You can do it 2 days a month. So do it on, 2 Wednesdays a month or something like that, where you pull kids. And I also tried to pull kids in the morning. So I always pulled kids in the morning to try to do a couple of things, especially with my struggling learners. So again, that's another time to do it. So it's really important to confer with your students. But again, I get it that we don't have a lot of time in your classroom. But just try. Just try. Even if it's just 1 day a month, just try. All right. Secret number 7. We are on secret number 7, my friends. We are on assessing your students. Formative assessments should be short and only have 5 to 10 questions. These formative assessments are what give you the tools to group your students homogeneously. You are not giving them a test that has 27 questions, my friends. You don't need 27 questions to create your groups, your groups that you create for guided math. You don't need 25 and 30 questions on a test. You don't need it, my friends. 5 to 10 questions will give you all the information you need about how to group those students homogeneously for your rotations. Now, this is what I use to create my ability groups for each specific unit of study. Now, what I'm going to tell you to do is I want you to reverse engineer your units by looking at your end of the unit assessment. Look at your assessment. See what they're expected to do. Use the same type of vocabulary, the same type of questioning, so they're familiar with it when they go to take the assessment. I'm not saying the same problems, the same vocabulary, the same wording to your questions, because that will prepare them for what's to come. And it's also important that your pre and post assessments should mimic each other. If they're completely different, your data will be off a little bit, and it won't give you a true picture of student growth. So that's important that your pre and post assessments be somewhat similar, because it will give you a true picture of their growth within that unit. So assessing is really, really important. And trust me when I tell you, when you assess and you ensure you cover the vocabulary and the types of wording that they use, you'll see some really great progress from them. I got this question a couple times, how long is your math block? My math block is usually an hour and 10 minutes about. An hour and 10 minutes, I would say. So we're looking at like 70 minutes, sometimes 75. It kind of depends on the day. But basically, it's about 75 minutes per day. So, my friends, these are the 7 hidden secrets that will help you unleash the math genius in your students. Now, these 7 secrets are simply part of a guided math framework or a math workshop framework. These are the pieces of the puzzle. These are the pieces of the puzzle. And when you put these pieces into effect, you can do it. You can do this in your classroom if you put these pieces of the puzzle together. And all you have to do is follow these steps. Number 1, you have to make a decision to implement and follow through. Now, please understand, I know it's hard. I know it's hard. I did it myself. I said it before. I'll say it again. My first year, I was a hot mess express. I looked like I went through the ringer every day after math because I was doing a lot of trial and error. I was trying to figure out what worked for my students and what didn't and how I can help them. And it was just about me powering through. Not only that, but number 2, you need to change your mindset and know that it can be done. Is it going to be hard? Yep, it is. Is it going to be difficult certain days? Yes, it is. Are you going to be a hot mess express? Yep, you are, but it's okay. If you change your mindset and say, you know what? I'm going to power through this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get this up and working in my classroom and power through it. You can do it. It just takes you to change your mindset to a growth mindset instead of a fixed mindset and say, I can do this. I just have to try. I just have to power through it. And that's number 3. When you hit a roadblock, power through it and celebrate your small wins. Small wins are wins, my friends. Every small win you have brings you closer and closer to implementing this framework wholeheartedly in your classroom. It doesn't happen in one day, it doesn't happen in 1 week, and it might not happen in 1 year. But the more you practice it and the more you put it into effect in your classroom, you will get this going. And I'll tell you why. I did it myself. And I'm not going to tell you it was easy. It wasn't. It was hard, but I knew it was right for my students because honestly, I knew I was failing them. I knew that when I looked at those students in the front row and they were, playing sword fights with the place value blocks and they were passing notes to each other inside their desks, they weren't with me. And my students in the back of the room were bored to tears. They were bored to tears because I wasn't teaching them. They already knew it. So why? Why did I keep doing that? You know why? To be honest with you, I was a mother of twins, of young twins. I was a wife. I had a house, a full-time job, honestly, a second job. I had 2 jobs. Life was not easy. But when I realized that I wasn't teaching my struggling learners, I knew I had to change it, and that's what I did. But I know that sometimes you feel like you need more support when you're going through a new program or you're starting something new in your classroom. Support is so important. It helps us to move forward because implementing something new in our classroom is not easy. You know it and I know it. Again, it was hard for me. I was not... Let me tell you, if you walked into my classroom my first year, you'd be like, yeah, this girl is a hot mess express. Literally, I gotta get out of here. But eventually, it became to be the most powerful period in my day. So it's not easy when you're implementing something new. And honestly, these are the questions I get every single week. So this was from Mary. I got this recently. I've been reading your blog about guided math, watched your webinar, and I told my principal all about your guided math resources, and I love them, and I've been using them, and she wanted to ask me if you do professional development for guided math for our district. Can you let me know, and let me know how much you charge? I get this question all the time. I'm telling you, I must get an email and a Facebook message like this every day. Here's another one I got just recently from Cynthia. Are you presenting at any conferences this year on guided math? If so, can you tell me where and when? I'd love to attend. I learned so much from your webinar. I actually watched it 3 times. And I'd love to see you present in person. And then I get messages and I get tagged on Facebook. Anna Prea DiGiulio, I was wondering if you ever do professional development for schools on guided math. I believe my school would be very interested. I get these every single solitary day. And unfortunately, my friends, the answer is always no. Someone actually just asked me, are you presenting at any conferences, Anna? And the answer is no, but there's a really good reason. And I'm going to share that reason with you. And yes, you can laugh because it's 100% true. Yes. Okay. This is the reason, my friends, I am petrified to fly. I'm not talking just a little afraid. I'm talking like petrified to fly. So I don't present at conferences because I do not want to fly around the United States and offer professional development, even though I love helping teachers. I can't do this. This is me. And honestly, when I do fly, because I do have to fly a couple of times a year, I am heavily medicated. Heavily. Like, we're talking unconscious medicated, okay? So I only travel a few times a year when I go away with my family and when I have to go to a couple of conferences. And trust me, I am like out for the count. So if the plane does go down, I really won't know about it. I hope you're laughing right along with me because yes, this is the reason why I do not travel around the country because I'm petrified of flying. So I don't offer my services, my guided math training around the country because I just can't fly. However, I did the next best thing. I created Guided Math That Works. Oh, I'm so excited. Guided Math That Works is my online professional development course via my online course platform. This is all online, my friends. Oh, that can be completed in your comfy PJs. That's right. Can I get an oh yeah and an amen? Professional development in my pajamas? Now we're talking. Now we are talking, my friends. So basically, this is me when I could do professional development in my pajamas, probably with a glass of wine next to me, or, you know, my 17 cups of coffee that I have every day. That's me, and that can be you. My Guided Math That Works course has literally been a work in progress for over a year, and it's finally finished, and I'm so excited to share it with you. Yay! I would love to tell you what Guided Math That Works is and how you can check it out. Guided Math That Works, like I said, is my online professional development course that will teach you absolutely everything you need to know and everything you need to do to implement guided math in your classroom. It is a 5-module professional development course via my online course platform. This is exactly what it looks like, what you're looking at right now. It is 24 video-based lessons. The entire course is video-based. So it's not a ton of reading, it's all video-based. Unfortunately, you'll have to listen to my New York accent. I feel bad for you, but if you drink wine, it's easier to handle. So it's 24 video-based lessons. You will get downloadable PDF workbooks for every single module, and there are over $40 worth of bonuses in the program. So when you get in here, if you actually see this picture right here, there's a bonus module. All of the bonuses are in there. And it's called, again, Guided Math That Works. And again, this is about professional development from the comfort of your own home or classroom. And PJs are definitely acceptable. And honestly, I think it should be mandatory. But that's beside the point. Now, this workshop, this online professional workshop, again, is broken up into 5 modules. Module 1 is about the guided math philosophy and the overall framework about what guided math is and the philosophy behind it and the research behind it. So that's just kind of your introduction. Then we go super, super deep. Module 2, we go into whole group instruction. We go deep, deep, deep into number talks, warm-ups, wrap-ups, stretches, problem of the day, assessment, calendar math, math focus wall, number talks. We go in deep on whole group instruction and how you can implement whole group instruction in your classroom. Module 3 is all about small group instruction. This is a hefty module. We go into how to plan your lessons with a CPA approach, organization, live lessons. You'll see students working on, you'll see students transitioning through the different rotations in my classroom. You will get everything you need in this course to get you up and running. Module 4 and Module 5 are all about the rotations. So the rotations are small group rotations. We talk about fact fluency, math journals, math stations, teacher feature station. You name it, we go in very, very, very deep about the rotations. And then the bonus section has all of your bonus resources, all of them. So here's everything you'll get in the course. I'm going to go over it really quickly. You're going to get lifetime access to Guided Math That Works, this professional development class. It is a $149 value, but that's the value. Hold on. Don't leave me yet. You're going to get over 180 math vocabulary word cards that could either be on a word wall or in a pocket chart, and it's for grades 1 through 5. This is a $15 value. You get my complete math focus wall that you could put up on a bulletin board in your classroom. If this is a $12 value, you'll get my brand new digital guided math rotation board. So if you want to do this digitally on your smart board, this you can do as well, and it automatically times your rotations and gives the students transitions and bells when they can do that. And again, the last one is a printable guided math rotation board for and this is a $5 value. This I already had, but this is also part of it as well. All of these things are included in your Guided Math That Works course. And of course, you're going to get some other goodies in the course, and there's another bonus in there, and you'll find out about it after you join. The total value for everything you're getting in this course is honestly, over $196. But for today and for the next 3 days, this course is available to you for $97 per license. So if you'd like to purchase the course yourself, it's $97. And plus, don't forget, there are $40 worth of resources
in the course, which basically means you're getting the course for 50% off because there are over $40 worth of bonuses in the course. Now, if you want to bring Guided Math That Works professional development to your school, you can do that as well. If you show your administrator or your curriculum developer the guidedmaththatworks.com site, they can purchase school district licensing as well. And if they purchase 5 or more licenses, they can get each teacher license for $79 per license. They just have to buy 5 or more. Now, I'm going to show you a really quick interactive booklet that I have available that you can also show your administrator.
So what I'm looking at right now is the guidedmaththatworks.com site. And right here below the pricing structure, you can see it says, teachers need help getting your principal or administration on board? View the interactive guide. So when you click this interactive guide, it will open up in a new window. And this is an interactive booklet or brochure that you can share with your administrator or superintendent or curriculum developer. As you can see, the pages turn. It tells you all about Guided Math That Works Professional Development Online Workshop. It tells you the focus of the lessons, what each module, what's incorporated in each module. It talks about the bonuses. On the next page, it talks about how much the licenses cost for individuals and for school district licenses, and all they have to do is click here to purchase. There is also a video message from me to your administrator telling them about what Guided Math That Works is and giving them some more information about myself as a teacher and a professional developer. And then, of course, there's more information about me on the back of the brochure. So as you can see, it's an interactive brochure that you can show your administrator, which is really exciting. And you could just send them that link so they can check it out and possibly purchase the professional development workshop for you.
So just to recap, this Guided Math That Works professional development course is open to you right now, but only for 3 days only. So important to know, it's only for 3 days it will be available to you. Because if you were to go to the Guided Math That Works page right now, it's not open. It's not open for enrollment right now. I only open for enrollment a few times per year. But because you went through my webinar, I'm allowing my webinar participants to purchase the online course at their leisure for the next 3 days. So if you are interested in taking Guided Math That Works and getting Guided Math up and running in your classroom, today is the day. Now is the time. You'll only have 3 days to purchase the course because, as I said, enrollment is not open right now. I only open it through my webinar for my participants that take part in the webinar. So if you were to go to the site, you wouldn't be able to purchase it on your own. You can only purchase it through this webinar link and only for the next 3 days. And then you won't be able to purchase it after the 3 days is up. So I hope you found this information helpful to you. I hope that you gleaned a lot of new nuggets of information from the webinar itself. And I really hope you take a moment to think about Guided Math and think about implementing it in your classroom. So before I go, I'd love to hop on camera and just say my quick goodbyes to you. So hold on 1 second and let me hop back on camera.
Thank you so much, everybody, for coming on tonight, for spending your time with me, and for your passion for teaching. It's amazing to me, the teachers I get to see and talk to every day, and how amazing you all are and what you do in those classrooms. Because trust me when I tell you, I know how hard your job is. I know it because I've experienced it for 23 of my own years in the classroom. So I applaud you for everything you do each and every day for those students, because when it comes down to it, they are the ones that matter. And I'm just so honored that you took your time and you're spending it with me tonight to learn about Guided Math and getting it up and running in your classroom. So I truly want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending almost 2 hours with me tonight and letting me share my new online professional development course with you that I am really excited about, and I hope to bring it to your school or to your home while you're in your PJs. So again, I want to thank you so much for your time tonight and for your passion and everything you do for the world of education. You make the world a better place. Thank you so much. I love you guys to pieces. Thank you for everything. I'll talk to you guys soon, and don't forget to check out Guided Math That Works. Bye for now.